On the 29th of May 2011, Governor Ibikunle Amosun was sworn into office to pilot the affairs of Ogun State, the Gateway State, a state that holds a lot of potential, both human and natural. The onus was on the newborn government to show its worth by reversing the dwindling fortunes of the state, as left behind by the previous government, into a success. Saddled with this onerous responsibility, the governor, armed with a strong vision, embarked on a journey to rebuild Ogun State. It was tagged Mission to Rebuild. The mission was to be driven by 5 cardinal programs targeted at changing the way things were being done in key sectors, as well as engineer a chain of activities in other sectors that are capable of making the state a point of reference. 1 year down the line, these programs of government have received life and have, in no small measure, caused the people to smile. Affordable and qualitative education is number 1 on the cardinal programs list of this administration. This is because of the role education plays in shaping the lives of youths and equipping them to be good leaders of tomorrow. The need to make education top priority is also a reflection of the state in which public schools at both primary and secondary levels in Ogun State were in. Schools owned by the state government were confronted by several challenges ranging from inadequate funding to poor maintenance and management of the infrastructure on the ground to classroom congestion.
One of the major problems or challenges, of course, was the decay in the infrastructure of most of our schools, be it tertiary institutions, be it secondary, primary schools. The infrastructure was so bad. The physical building were in a very serious stage of dilapidation.
There was also the fact that huge sums of monies were owed by the past administration in respect of the May-June West African Senior Certificate Examination in 2010 and 2011. Over 3 billion naira was also owed as subvention to the state's tertiary institutions, amongst others. These challenges were immediately addressed by Senator Ibikunle Amosun as soon as he came into power as executive governor of Ogun State. As a start, free education was immediately flagged off in all public primary and secondary schools.
Tuition fee ọ̀fẹ́ ni, file jacket ọ̀fẹ́ ni, identity card ọ̀fẹ́ ni, prospectus tá máa gbà ọ̀fẹ́ ni, dossier ọ̀fẹ́ ni. Pé ọmọ fẹ́ ṣe ìdánwò.
Complementing the free education, 100 blocks of classrooms in different public schools across the state were quickly given a facelift within the first 100 days in office. Their renovation coincided with the commencement of a new school session in September 2011. All other outstanding debts in the education sector were also paid up. As a further demonstration of the priority placed on education, the 2012 budget presented to the State House of Assembly on the 29th of November 2011 for approval allocated the highest percentage to education.
The first chartered accountant is from Ogun State. The first lawyer, Chief Rotimi Williams, is from Ogun State. You can continue. The first medical doctor is from Ogun State. You can go on and on and on and on like that. The only Lube Norel that we have is from Ogun State. So the Olikoye of this world, they are from Ogun State. The Lambo of this world, they are from Ogun State. The fella Ransom Kuti, they are from Ogun State. You can go, even the modern day now, the Kukus, the Adeola Udutola, the Jola Ushos, everybody, they are from Ogun State. the Shone course, you know that Ogun State, in fact, we have the highest literacy level. So that tells you that education is key, is important to us. This is why we have what I would call our comparative advantage. We should take advantage of it, and that is why for us, education is key.
Apart from these efforts, the state government has made provision for instructional materials for pupils and students in all public schools in the state. This is to aid smooth and efficient learning. The distribution of these materials to various school heads was done on the 28th of October 2011. In addition to that, about 2 billion naira was spent to acquire textbooks on all subjects in the curriculum of all government-owned schools. Governor Amosun flagged off the distribution of these textbooks himself on the 19th of January 2012.
Delivery of qualitative education could not be achieved if students lack adequate textbooks, stationaries and instructional materials that will facilitate effective learning. Since a diagnosis of student performance in external examinations such as WASC, ECE, NECO, SSCE has revealed that students rely mostly on only what they get from their teachers simply because there are no textbooks to substantiate and sustain what they learned in the classroom. Our administration deemed it necessary to invest in the future of our children.
After this, the textbooks were distributed to all government-owned schools in the state for onward distribution to pupils and students. On improving the infrastructure of schools in the state, the government, through the State Universal Basic Education Board, is embarking on a new phase of the renovation exercise. This time, 200 new blocks of classrooms, cutting across all the 20 local government areas within the state, will be the beneficiaries. The administration has also embarked on the construction of model schools, which will also cut across the 3 senatorial districts of the state.
We are constructing 26 model schools, and which is cut across the state, 1 per local government, only that where we have more population in terms of children, then they have 2, like Ishagamu, like Ijebu-Ode, like Ifo, Abeokuta South, Abeokuta North, Adodo. I mean, those have about 2 because of the population in terms of enrollment.
The foundation for these schools have already been laid and flagged off in 3 local governments, 1 in each of the 3 senatorial districts. This was done in Ilaro town of Ogun West Senatorial District, Ijebu-Ode for Ogun East, and Abeokuta for Ogun Central. The provision and distribution of school bags was also one of the recent projects which pupils and students of the government-owned schools benefited from the state government to uplift education in Ogun State. The governor, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, has already flagged off the distribution of the school bags.
No, where is like this people? Yes. Look at how beautiful Madam Speaker is, Mr. Bag. Well done.
This he did at the MKO Abiola Stadium as part of activities marking this year's Children's Day celebration in the state.
All of us, I pray.
Senator Ibikunle Amosun has given his word that his government will not relent in its efforts at bringing into reality the vision of Ogun State's founding fathers to provide an affordable, world-class educational standard for all.
So in all that we do, we want you to put it in mind that Ogun State is unique in its way and form. We set the standard in the entire nation, and that is why it's no gainsaying. There is no profession that you can mention that Ogun State is left behind. Indeed, we are in the forefront.
Still towards strengthening the education system of Ogun State, a promotional exam was conducted for teachers and some non-teaching staff from grade level 7 to 15. It was organized by the Ogun State Teachers Service Commission and took place on the 18th of December 2011. One way to improve any sector is by capacity building. As a way to improve the performance of teachers at secondary school level, the Ogun State Teachers Service Commission, in collaboration with Millennium Education Limited, organized a 3-day workshop for 200 principals and 800 teachers on the 22nd of February 2012. The workshop was meant to enhance teachers' teaching competencies in the core subjects of English language and mathematics.
Pronounce it. I want you to pay attention to the air passage, the front part of your tongue and the roof of your mouth.
In the overall interest of
The Ogun State government did not stop the restructuring of the education system at just secondary level. New decisions were also made to strengthen the state's tertiary institutions. Of a truth, a lot has been achieved in just 1 year to restore high educational standards in the state, and the impact has been largely felt by all. But the government is not resting on its oars, as it promises more for the education sector.
So I want to say that in another 1 year, I want to believe that the face of education will change in Ogun State with when all these new models, construction of new model schools, the rehabilitations and new schools, both in secondary and primary schools, are completed, then you are going to see a total change in the face of education in Ogun State.
So also, different individuals and stakeholders have, in their own little ways, complemented the efforts of the Ogun State government by contributing their own quota to uplift the educational standard in the state. Some of these efforts have come in the form of classroom blocks, office blocks, school uniforms, etc.
The idea is for us to give something back to our society, to make the lives of the children better, to make it easier for them to learn in a more conducive atmosphere.
One of the objectives of National Youth Service Corps is to ensure that the participating corps members within their capacity contribute positively to the development of their host community. As a corps member, having identified Keating students as a morale booster for the students, in their quest to acquire better education, I hereby want to bring this into being in the education sector and implore other members of the society and the government to follow suit.
Despite these efforts of government, there have been reports of poor reading culture and performances in all government-owned schools. In the quest to overcome some of these numerous challenges and to close the gap between public and private schools in Ogun State, the Ministry of Education, the Office of the First Lady of Ogun State, in conjunction with New Era Foundation for Spelling Bee drivers, organized a 1-day workshop which held at the Abeokuta Grammar School, Idiaba, which was on the 7th of June 2012. Objectives of the workshop included strengthening self-confidence in students, inspiring the revival of the culture of inter-school debates and quizzes, and promote healthy academic rivalry among public schools in the state, and also allowing the best student competitor to serve as governor for 1 day. Reading from the speech of the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, which was delivered by his representative, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, reiterated that it is of utmost importance to improve the reading and spelling skills of students in government-owned schools. The Commissioner also urged the students to take full advantage of such an opportunity given to them.
To my dear students here present, for whom this competition is being organized, I charge you to take the full advantage of this competition and to improve your lot, especially your reading habit and general academic performance in the spirit of to whom much is given, much is expected.
SUNAMI.
The workshop tested the abilities and skills of some of the students. Almost immediately, the Spelling Bee competition was officially flagged off by the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Office of the Wife of the State Governor. The event held at Valley View Hall on the 18th of June 2012. The occasion attracted dignitaries, students and pupils of public schools in Ogun State.
It is with great pleasure that I formally flag off this event, which is the maiden edition of the Spelling Bee competition for secondary schools in Ogun State. The importance of this competition cannot be overemphasized, as it is designed to improve education standards in our public schools and facilitate intellectual, mental, and physical motivation.
All these efforts in the last 1 year of this administration are all geared towards one goal, that is, to restore education to its pride of place. Mr. Babatunde Ogunjobi is a radiator engineer, as well as a family man with 2 children. He had to withdraw these children from the private school they were registered due to financial constraints. Fortunately for him, the free, affordable and qualitative education of Senator Ibikunle Amosun's administration was immediately flagged off. This brought quick relief for him, as he immediately enrolled his children into government-owned schools. And since then, the benefits have been enormous.
I removed my children from private school to elementary school.